The Gamer's got some more hot Gamescom coverage for you, so let's see what our editors checked out on the floor on day 3 of Gamescom.
Hi, I'm Meg Pelliccio, and I'm here with day 3 of Gamescom, and my game of the day for today is a little indie game called Wrecker. It was really intriguing, to say the least. I knew I wanted to play it before we even came here, and I'd pegged it as my game of the day before I'd even got hands-on with it, but I had a lovely chat with the developers who told me all about it. It's a little, I'm going to say cozy, but it can also be creepy, house-building game. It takes inspiration from the Fable of Baba Yaga. You have a little witchy house on chicken legs. You can build your house up. It can go up multiple stories. You can have your items stacked on top of each other, create messy bookshelves and all that. It was just phenomenal, really, and I loved the feeling of it. This little, it has, even if you're doing the cozy witch vibe, it still has this creepy aesthetic to it, and you can go around completing quests for people. I think it's one of those games where you could easily spend hundreds of hours just creating your perfect little house, and I can't wait to play the full thing. That's the one I would recommend checking out for today.
Hi everybody, Stacey Henley here, Editor-in-Chief of The Gamer from day 3 of Gamescom, the last kind of big day for media appointments, and my game of the day today is Hellskate. This is a roguelite, but also a skateboarding game, and not just any skateboarding game. It's made by one of the devs who worked on Tony Hawk's Underground. I sat with him as I played the game. He told me that basically when they made Tony Hawk's Underground, they had all those points that you get, for grinding, for flips, for speed, and it felt to him a little bit like an RPG, but he didn't feel the stat points did enough to affect the gameplay itself. So he's now created a roguelike game where all of these stats do impact things. Some of these stats will just impact your skating, you get more air. Some of them will specifically impact you in combat, and some of them will be a mixture of the two, because all of the usual moves from a Tony Hawk's game, I had a lot of muscle memory playing it, right and square for kickflip, left and square for heel flip, the indies, the grinds, the manuals, all of the things. It was just like playing a Tony Hawk's game, and then also you were attacked by demons from hell. So as you do all these tricks, you get power-ups, you become stronger, and then you take on these various creatures that spawn. You collect Hellskate, like you would collect skate in the game. So there's a lot of nods to the Tony Hawk style, but I think because it comes from a developer who worked on those games, who saw a way to improve it or change the dynamic of that game in a way that made it so much more, not necessarily more interesting, because I do love the Tony Hawk's games, but rather than just going away and making another Tony Hawk's game or another skating game that borrowed a lot of things, it instead completely reimagines those mechanics in a new environment, and I think that's a really fascinating thing to see. So day 3, my game of the day, Hellskate.
Hi, it's Harry Alston from The Gamer on the final day of Gamescom. I am knackered. I had a super busy day today. It's kind of hard to pick just one game out of the lot. I saw Enshrouded from Keen Games, which is an upcoming open world crafting Valheim-esque game. Looks like it's got a lot of potential. Still kind of early doors for it, but it looks like it could be a massive hit next year. Recently in closed beta, some of the people playing the game made some crazy structures and constructions with the very intricate building mechanics. I also saw, last of all, Ghost Runner 2, which was a difficult game to play at the end of the day because it's an incredibly intense and brutal experience. I died 85 times in 31 minutes, to give you a bit of perspective. What else did I see today? Pacific Drive, which is the survival horror car game where you're driving through a apocalyptic, radiated kind of wasteland, quarantine zone. It's been an excellent day. It's kind of hard to pick one that stands out as the best, but that's been Gamescom. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Hey everyone, this is George Foster from The Gamer for the final day of Gamescom. I am sleep deprived, I am dehydrated, I am in desperate need of a beer, but today was my favourite day by far. I had so many good games to talk about. I'm going to start off by highlighting Mortal Kombat 1. I adore Mortal Kombat, and I'd already played a lot of it with the open beta the closed beta that was the other month, but this was my first chance getting to play some of the single player stuff. This time around it's Invasions, which was only just recently revealed. It's like a board game kind of mode that kind of combines the crypts and the tower features from the past few Mortal Kombat games. And it's fantastic. If you told me a Mortal Kombat board game thing was in Mortal Kombat 1, I probably would have sighed derisively and not been that big of a fan of it, but it turns out it's just a more interesting version of Towers, but with better progression. It kind of confirmed that customization's a thing. So that's all great. I think they're doing seasons for it as well, so it's going to be something that they're doing for a while. There's always going to be more content coming, and that's exciting, because I was not a fan of the Towers in Mortal Kombat 11. They were just grindy and a hassle, but this time around it seems, they're doing something more interesting. I also got to play around half an hour of the story mode. Only a very brief look, but I'm already really excited by what I've seen. Shang Tsung seems to be... he was very big for Mortal Kombat 11, but he seems even more important here in the brief glimpse I got. Then I also saw Raiden and Smoke and Sub-Zero and Scorpion, just glimpses at them, and they're all shaping up really nicely. It wasn't enough to get too much of a gauge on the story mode, but what I've seen so far looks fantastic. So Mortal Kombat 1 is just shaping up to be an incredible game.
Be sure to stay tuned to this YouTube channel and thegamer.com for more Gamescom coverage. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
There's the expansion wall. It separates the outer zone from the mid-zone, and more importantly, us from those two idiots. This will get you one step closer to the deep zone. It's far past its prime, so watch your step.